So, all right, so here we are again. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd of April, and we are speaking with
Jimmy Odom
here at Chicago Lyric Opera for our production of
Where
Carousel.
am I?
Where the heck are we anyway? And I wonder if you could speak a little bit about the whole AGMA rep
Sure.
thing.
I am the national president of AGMA, the American Guild of Musical Artists.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's a big, giant title.
Yeah,
Good job.
Yeah, it is. AGMA is the union that represents singers in opera.
Right, the American Guild
of Musical Artists. We represent singers in opera and concert choral singers, dancers with dance companies, and
really?
stage managers and stage directors and choreographers who work in those venues.
In opera.
In opera and concert choral work and ballet.
And this house, Chicago Lyric, is considered an AGMA house.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so, what's the difference?
What that means is that Lyric Opera of Chicago has a contract with AGMA that sets basic working conditions and minimum compensation. And and sometimes it's really minimum. And then we enforce those provisions. So, for example, our contract is expiring at the end of this month, or at the end of next month, rather.
Wow.
And we will start negotiating a successor agreement, and we will have sessions with with management and come to terms to determine what the working conditions and minimum compensation and any other issues that need to be dealt with are going to be over the next, I'm going to guess, 3 to 5 years, because that's the normal length of a contract term.
Yeah.
So,
and what are some of the issues for people that you'd have to bring up in negotiations?
We talk about time
Overtime.
in rehearsals before you have to have a break.
Oh.
And then overtime in a day, how long you can work in a day, and how those hours can be structured in a day.
And how they can be structured in a day.
So that you don't have, for example, if you have a 6-hour limit on your day, you don't want to have a 6-hour rehearsal in the day because you would be vocally fried by the end of the first week.
Sure.
So we have limits that rehearsals in certain circumstances cannot be more than 3 hours long. In other circumstances, they can't be more than 4 hours long. After a certain amount of time, you have to have a break so that you can have a little chance to rest and relax and let your voice rest a little bit before you have to go on.
And are you expected to sing every rehearsal full out in voice?
No. As a matter of fact, we are encouraged during staging rehearsals not to. Yes, because it just becomes overwhelming. The chorus is encouraged not to, because it does become overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Our chorus is known for our huge wall of sound.
Awesome.
And you get 120 people during a Wagner opera who are all singing full out in a small rehearsal space.
Shake the ground.
People are going to be deafened.
Yeah, right.
It's just not possible.
Yeah.
So we don't always sing full out, and neither do principals. Because you just can't. You simply can't. You cannot stand on your feet all day long and sing full out and still make it through to even opening night, let alone to the end of the run.
One of the things that's been surprising for me here is that here I am at Chicago Lyric, and I've been here a few times. And anyway, when I'm performing all over the world, wherever, I'm used to hearing this so much sound, a cacophony of sound, people warming up. I'm the only one.
Yes.
I don't hear anybody warming up.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, what time is it? Isn't it getting close to, like time for us to start or something? And I don't hear anything going on.
It's because you're working with Broadway actors, and they warm up in different ways. They don't do the same kind of warm up that you do.
Yeah.
Earlier today, when I first came in to say that I would love to do this with you, I was hesitant to knock on your door because I didn't want to interrupt your warm up.
Oh, right.
And so I tried to wait until you got to a normal break, and before I went knock, 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 knock.
Yeah.
So. My opinion, this is my opinion, is that good technique is good technique. If you sing properly, you will sing properly, and it doesn't matter what you're singing. It's all the same. But how you approach it is very different.
That's so true. That's so true. Because I hear a lot of people, everybody's keeping it really forward, keeping it in the mask and stuff, and they are seasoned and used to this kind of schedule of,
Yeah.
performing in it every day. And also, I was the only one who ever marked in the rehearsals where
Yes.
the principals are concerned.
Yes.
They all sang all the time.
Right. Right. And they do that. I used to do that too when I was very young.
Is that so?
And and as a matter of fact, I had a director one time say to me, "You don't even know what the word mark means, do you?" And I said, "I'm just singing. This is just comfortable for me." As I've gotten older,
and it's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can mark badly, and that's
absolutely.
right. So you have to learn how
careful.
to do it correctly. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can do more damage doing that.
Absolutely.
Damage, that's a strong word, but
still, but accurate, because you can do damage if you mark incorrectly. You can do damage to the apparatus, and it's very. You have to be very careful, and you have to be very aware of what you're doing all the time.
Right.
Particularly if you're in a position where you're singing operas from 4 different genres at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And you're rehearsing a Wagner in the afternoon and singing a Mozart at night.
Of course.
Oh
my God, of course.
There's no way you can sing a staging rehearsal of Wagner and sing Così that night.
Oh my goodness.
You have to be aware of what's coming up, what you're going to do.
Right.
And even then, even being aware and being seasoned professionals, which most of the chorus members here are.
Yes.
We have to be reminded, you have to hold back at this rehearsal because you got to sing tonight.
Yeah.
We do not want you to sing in the rehearsal because we know you have a performance tonight. Or sing out in this performance and don't worry about tonight's rehearsal. That's not important. So it's something that you learn over the years, how to pace yourself.
Right.
Just as a principal singer does.
Yeah.
You learn where you can let things go and test and see how things are going to work on stage. And then you learn when to hold back and let your voice rest as much as it can. But you have to do that holding back. You have to do that resting correctly. It has to still be a good supported sound. It still has to be well placed. It still has to be relaxed and technically correct. Or marking doesn't do you any good. It'll just make you tired and make the situation worse than actually singing out would.
And so since you started out in musical theater and then at some point you transitioned to opera?
I did. I started out
is that very common?
No.
No, not at all.
I'm kind of a freak. I started out as a dancer.
Yeah.
And I broke both my ankles and ended my dance career.
Wow.
And on a dare, did an audition for Dallas Opera.
Oh, I hate stories like this. There are people like you who just show up and they sing and they land the gig.
I'm even more hateful
that.
than that. I had to learn an aria to do the audition. I didn't even know an aria.
I can't believe that. Oh my God.
And they hired me. Nicola Maricino was the artistic director there then.
Sure.
And Nikki heard my audition and he hired me
how,
on the
but
spot.
come on, wait a minute. Wait, so you don't know what an aria is. Somebody said you got it. So you choose what? And
I chose the Aubin from La Radie. And of course didn't have a lick of French under my tongue. Just made it all up. And
well, you must have been pretty darn good at it.
well, I have a freak voice. I have a lot of high notes, or had a lot of high notes. That was 36 years ago, so not as many as there were. But he evidently heard something that he liked, and hired me. And I thought, I'll do this for a season or two. They'll figure out that I don't have a clue, that I don't have any idea what I'm doing, and then they'll fire me, and I'll figure out what to do. Well, 15 years later, they still hadn't fired me, and I had what I like to refer to as a small but undistinguished career as a solo singer. And sang José or two. Yeah, sang a couple of Josés and some Rodolfos and
you're kidding.
Lots of Beppes. And lots of Goros. Did a lot of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And decided in about 1993 that I was just tired of not knowing if I was going to be able to pay the rent every month. It's a hard life.
I completely understand that.
It's
I
a
completely
hard
respect
life.
that.
And so, because I knew... Is that your call?
It could have been. He's got the soliloquy.
Yeah,
and
I haven't
usually
heard that
know.
yet.
No,
Wait a minute.
it's going to be
Where is
starting
he?
soon. There
There it is.
Is the beginning of it.
So you've got 7 minutes.
That's right.
But in any case, I decided.
I totally respect that.
Yeah, I knew Donald Palumbo, who was the course master here then.
Yeah.
And I called Donald and said, I really have got to get out of Dallas. Do you have an open contract? And he said, come on up. I'll get you into the auditions. And
how was that for you? Is there some sort of stigma? I find that when I go to say, and this is, maybe is going to be another conversation, because I'm so aware of where we are in the piece, but I'm always very aware of the chorus whenever I go somewhere, because I know that I have a lot of friends that I went to the conservatory with who I respect tremendously as singers, who are great singers, and who, like you said, I want to know what's going on. People want to raise their families. They want to settle down. They want to, know exactly how much is going to be coming in every month. And because it is a stressful, difficult thing. My best girlfriend was doing that, and she got very sick and had some health problems, and that was very expensive. And she said, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this in my life. I want to know what I need to have, that sense of security and know what's going on.
I think there are some people who find it a disappointment when they find that they need to make that decision. I found it actually to be a relief.
Awesome.
Because I got into a position where I could do what I wanted to do. I could have a real life. I could go to the doctor when I got sick because I had health insurance.
How about that?
I had a regular salary coming in.
That's great.
So it was exactly what I needed for my life at that time.
Yeah.
It was very liberating.
Yeah.
And I have such a much better life now than I would have had I kept slogging on and trying to keep that career as a solo singer going.
But one of the things,
because I'm not a leading man.
But also, I think one of the things that makes your story unique is that you did live that out.
Yeah.
You did many things. I mean, you started out dancing, then you were doing musical theater, then you were doing all these leading roles, and you were doing compromario roles, and all the. So you did fulfill that,
right?
If that was a desire for you.
I had a little bit of everything. And
exactly.
I still get to do things. 2 years ago, I got to sing Valjean in Les Mis.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
At a very tiny theater. A very tiny theater.
Doesn't matter. You still had to sing it.
Yeah. And it was wonderful. I had a marvelous time.
Aww.
And it's a very small regional theater in Texas that my family is associated with, and they decided they wanted to do Les Mis and checked with me. I was so flattered. Checked with me before they actually decided to do it to see if I would be willing to come in and do it for them.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, so I was happy. I was very happy to do it. It made my mother and dad extremely happy. My sister was in the cast, and my nephew was in the cast.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it was great fun.
Aww.
Great fun. So I still get to do things like that occasionally. And you've been called to the stage.
I gotta go. I'm nervous. All right, we'll be back at you. This has been